Hi, friends. Okay, just waiting for some folk to come on board. Luckily, this time I can see that the microphone is working. Hi, Joan. It's nice to see you. Yay. Okay, so we've got 7 folks on. Now it's up to 9. I'm going to give it a little bit just to let some folks come in. Yay, it's working. So, one of the things I do want to say is that I'm hoping that I can get all of your chats and comments afterward to show up on the video. Oh, a Maker 3 last night. That's exciting. Um, and I am someone who is easily distracted and takes forever to tell a story. So I am going to try not to say hi to each of you when you come in because then I'm going to get distracted. But I see you and it makes me super happy. So thank you. Thank you for joining me. Okay. And thanks for chatting. So we're going to go into the very basics between the two major machines. We're going to do this over, and I've decided now let's do it over the course of 4 nights or 4 sessions so that I don't lose you along the way and that I have an opportunity to really share the screen and show you the setup of the Cricut that we're going to be demonstrating together without being flustered. And that will give me more time to answer your questions and all that kind of business. Okay, so there are 2 major machines that Cricut offers, and Cricut is just one of the cutting machines that are out there. There's Silhouette, which has the cameos, and then Brother Scan and Cut. I don't have any experience with either of those 2 platforms. I only know Cricut. And then there are little Cricut machines like the Cricut Joy and some of the old time machines that took cartridges, but that's not what we're going to talk about. We're just going to talk about the Explorer and the Maker. If at any time you have a question, just don't worry if I don't answer it right away. I'm just trying to keep myself from those squirrel moments where I get off track. So feel free to type in at any time and I'll try to figure out how to go in and go back and revisit them if I don't answer it right away. All right. So we have decided to fast track this because there are so many machines that are going on for Black Friday sales. And I figured it was better to get this information to you now so that you can take advantage of those sales if you want to. I'm going to cut to the chase and say if you can afford it, the Cricut Maker is the way to go. I have the Cricut Maker and Explorer, and at this time, I don't plan to upgrade to the 3. So I have some notes, and let me talk about the reason why I don't want to go up to the 3 is because the difference between them isn't great enough to entice me into a 3. And I kind of think that there might be another one coming afterward. This is just my own gut that I might want to invest in. So for right now, I have no problem whatsoever saying a regular Cricut Maker is amazing. Also amazing is the Explorer. You can do so many things on the Explorer. The only thing it isn't as good for is fabric. So we'll go into that just a little bit more. But an Explorer, if that's what's in your budget, is a great machine. You can do a ton of things on there. There's nothing wrong with an Explorer. The Maker just has a lot of other tools that you can use and a lot of other materials that you can cut with it. So that's really the difference. But an Explorer is not, like a bad product at all. I have both, and I use both still to this day. So this one here is my Explorer, and then over here to my left is my Maker. So I still use them both. All right. So we've talked about that. We've talked about Maker. Does anybody have any questions on that part yet? Hi, Nikki Kinder. She says that she agrees. She has the original Cricut Maker, and she's in no hurry for the Maker 3. Can you guys see the questions that are coming in? Or is that just on my end of the screen? And I think there's a delay too. Okay, so Nikki is seeing the chat on the side. Perfect. That's great. Thank you. Okay, awesome. Yay, thanks guys. Okay, so the maker creates cuts a larger variety of materials, things like chipboard, leather, acrylic, and then it also has tools. So I'll get into the tools in just a second. The other thing I want to mention about the Maker 3 is that it doesn't come with a rotary blade, and the rotary blade is the tool that cuts the fabric, just like a regular rotary blade that you use by hand. The Maker um, 3 does not come with it, and it's like a $45 part. So it comes with regular Maker, just not the Maker 3. Somebody's asked, couldn't you just add whatever cutting tool you need for the other fabrics, which is an excellent question. And Cricut is smarter than that. And so their machines don't let you swap them out. They're smart. They're called adaptive tools. And it knows what machine or which tool you put in the machine. And so it won't let you kind of bypass it. And the other thing that Maker is different, it has cutting pressure that's different, and the Explorer Air just doesn't have the kind of power and the capability and the adaptive up and down that the Maker has. These machines are like a big Etch-a-Sketch. So, when you toggle the two dials, that's how you get those drawings made. The Maker adds an additional kind of dimension in that, which is the up and down part. So that's the difference. Have I lost everybody, or are we all still good? Okay, so while we're here, let's just talk about the tools now. And then I'm going to open the machine and show you what it looks like on the inside and where we put our tools. Nikki is right. The Maker is heavy, and there is it's a much more heavy duty machine, which is why you can cut more materials with it. You can cut wood with it. And it is just more of a bulky machine. Now, I would say that right now the price difference between them is really low. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. I wish I would have given more thought, and I would have maybe gone with the Maker to gift it. My thought with the Explorer was that I wanted you to be able to see the great things it can cut, and that I didn't want to discourage people. If their budget is Explorer, I wanted them to feel okay with that and to be able to see that this is a great machine. So that's another reason why I want the Explorer. All right. So these are the tools, and this right here is the housing, and the blade, and they're about the same size. They're not that much different in size. So this is called the housing unit. And we just pop this in and out of the machine, and I'll show you how in just a second. And then you can see that blade. This is the knife blade because it looks like a knife. And like I said, the machine knows what you put in there, and it will tell you what to put in there. We're going to get into more of that in another session, but the machine will definitely tell you what to do. So I just keep them stored in this little Dollar Tree art caddy. This is the rotary blade that you can only use on the Maker. You can see it looks just like a tiny version of our own rotary blades. This is a foil blade because with the Cricut Maker, you can put this tip in and then it will engrave foil onto your materials. So it's a cool little thing. And then this one is an etching machine or an etching blade. And on the Maker, you can etch metal. Like you can put a metal pipe server onto the mat, and then you can etch your design. So if somebody's getting married, you could etch their name and then their wedding date using this. You cannot do that with Explorer. So that's why I'm saying the Maker is a better option. Nikki, I was saying that this is a Dollar Tree caddy. So it just costs $1. And it holds all my little Maker tools. The other thing you can do with a Cricut is that you can use pens, and you can even use glue pens. This is glue, and it will write out your cards. So it will write out invitations, note cards, place holdings, all that kind of thing. So if you're thinking about a Cricut machine just because you want to use it for sewing related projects, it's really much more than that. So you might get it for the sewing end of things, but really it can do so many things that are super fun that even bring your sewing up a notch. Okay, so do we have any questions about the tools part of things yet? And we'll go more into this too. This is just a getting to know you. Okay, I'm going to show you how we put the tools in. Let me get this beast out of the way. I'm going to grab my maker real quick. Okay, so this is the maker. Can you guys see this? Let's see. Okay. Oh, this is heavy. Okay, so this is the Explorer. This is the maker. They're very similar in size. Set this one back over. Okay, now they both have Bluetooth capability, so you don't have to have them plugged into your computer. What I have found, and my lighting has just gotten really weird, what I found is that I like sometimes if I'm doing something with expensive materials to plug it into my computer because I don't have to worry that my Bluetooth is going to get interrupted. So that's how we get. I wanted to mention that because I'm hauling these machines around without any cords. You can do it wireless. Okay, so this is the inside, and I'm sorry, this was planned to do on Zoom with cameras. That worked better than my computer. Push this down. Okay, so this is the inside of the maker. The maker looks a little bit different than the Explorer. The new Explorer looks like this on the outside, but the traditional Explorer, including the one that I'm giving away, has a dial so that you can select your materials on the dial. This maker does not. Everything is done on the screen. So here's the inside, and this is where your mat goes in. You load your mat using this button here. It's a load and unload, and the series of wheels turns, and it draws your mat in, and then it comes out the other side in the back. This is where we put our tools, and they're labeled A and B. This one is B, and this one is A. A is where we always put our writing implements or the things that we draw with. So like the glue that we can draw with and then later put glitter on or something, that comes in here. And then this is the B clamp. So to change your tool, you just lift the lever like this, take out your current tool. This is the housing, so the whole unit comes out. If I were telling the machine that I was cutting fabric on my maker, it would tell me to put my rotary blade in. So I put it in here. Sorry, I'm balancing with one arm. Close this side of the clamp, close this side, and that's it. Changing the blade is something that I will go over in a different series altogether because that's not a basic, and you can use that blade for quite a while. So let's show you how to put in a pen. Nikki, the pens that I have are not Cricut brand. They are someone else. So your pen goes in here, you close it, and actually you're supposed to let it click. And then it will draw your letters for you. Okay. Does anyone have questions about the tools? Putting them in or taking them out or what other tools are available? I don't have all of the tools, contrary to popular opinion around here. There are different like scoring blades that are great if you're making little boxes. It will score the lines. And then when you go to fold it, everything folds nicely and it basically like creases it for you. There are wavy blades. There are a ton of different blades. All the machines will come with a fine point blade. So does it come with everything you need, or do you need to buy a starter kit or something? So it comes with, so each of the machines will come with the fine point blade. The original maker comes with a fine point blade and the rotary blade. I use the fine point blade for cardstock, paper, vinyl, cork, HTV, adhesive vinyl, the majority, and like most things. I very rarely need the knife blade. The rotary blade is for cotton woven and lycra. So that's what the rotary blade is for. Basically, if you consider, what it would feel like if you were to put fabric down and then put a fine point blade down and then drag it, see how it drags my skin? That's why we need the rotary blade, because the rotary blade rolls across it like this. And that's what the beauty of the maker is. Okay, so does it print on leather or suede or emboss? I think you can't. Well, you can print. It doesn't, it might draw on leather. It'd be something that you want to experiment with, but I can't see why it wouldn't. You would just need to make sure that maybe you do a test piece and like try to draw on a corner of it and see if that base material accepts the ink or not. But as long as it's not too thick, it would be fine. I'm going to go back and read the questions. Does it come with everything you need, or do you need to buy a starter kit or something? The other thing I wanted to mention is sometimes there are bundles. So this one here that I've purchased to give away is a bundle, and it's a bundle made for vinyl. So it has a bunch of different, like these are some of the tools, like spatulas to lift. To be honest, I don't really use these kinds of things. My favorite way to weed vinyl, weeding means to take away the stuff you don't want to use and leave behind the good stuff, is to use a needle. But there's enough in there to make a project, like a little tiny project once you start it. All right. Do you have any that just have the bottom piece that switches out from the same housing? No, Kimberly, I think that they all have just the basic housing. You can't, like, so for this one here is the engraver tool. You can't just, to my knowledge, you can't just take this bottom out, replace this, and then pop a rotary blade on it. I think that's what you're asking. And the answer is no. Cricut is too smart. And so they want you to buy the $45 part. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're watching for sales, because they do go on sale, and that you, kind of stock up when you get a chance. Also, I got my this foil kit, which was, gosh, I want to say like $60. I think I got it for 15 or 20 because it was like on a Home Shopping Network deal that I just came across, and it had a coupon. And so that's how I got that one. Do you need a subscription to be able to use it? I heard the software needs a subscription. So that's a great question. Let me get back to that in just a second. And will the regular blade cut through the fabric backing on cork, or will a rotary blade work better? The fine point blade works great. You can cut fabric on the Explorer, but it has to be bonded first or interfaced first. So the reason is, remember when we're talking about my skin and how it drags on here, if I were to clench my fist like this, then my skin doesn't drag on there anymore. And that's what that interfacing does. The interfacing makes it so that it's taut and the blade can cut right through because it doesn't drag it along. Let's see. And the reason why I don't like a rotary blade a lot of times for, one, it's more expensive to replace that blade. So if I can use my fine point blade, I'd rather do that. But also the fine point blade does a much better job with very intricate cuts. And the rotary blade, if you can imagine, if you're holding a rotary blade and you're trying to cut around a pattern piece, it's harder to get into those little nooks and crannies. So the fine point blade is better for fine details. And are there aftermarket blades? I've been meaning to look for that, but I don't know the answer. I don't think so. I think that they kind of have the market on their tools. There are aftermarket mats. So let's see. Let me talk about the subscription first. Somebody remind me that I want to talk about mats next. All right. So when you get your machine, it will have instructions and tells you how to go into Cricut Design Space. Cricut Design Space, think of it like Disneyland. Your machine is your ticket to Disneyland, to your park, to your Cricut Design Space, so the Cricut Design Space is free. Your machine is your ticket. And once you get in through the doors with your machine, the whole day is free. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do that's free. But there's all kinds of places where you can really spend your money. Bells and whistles, fonts, shapes, pre-made projects, that kind of a thing. But you can use and save and be perfectly functional in your Cricut Design Space just by buying the machine. Recently, they had made a really short-sighted decision that they were going to require you to always to have a subscription. Otherwise, your projects would be limited to like 5 uploads. They've now gone away from that. One of the other things that they've improved recently is you no longer need to use an internet connection to use Cricut Design Space. So you can work that offline, and you can save your projects offline, so that if you are sitting in your car and you're wanting, because you can use your iPhone or your Android to design. If you want to play on your phone and you don't have great internet service, you can still design in Cricut Design Space. Okay, let me get in here. Can you cut and print on leather tags that you designed yourself as an SVG? So I don't know if you, thanks, Gail. So I don't know if you've seen my YouTube tutorial about how to print on like the leather tags that I had done. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about or not. But what you can do is a thing called print then cut. So that's an advanced. We're not going to go into too much detail with that in this series here, but essentially you design your image in Cricut Design Space. Cricut Design Space is like a canvas. It's a computer program. You put what you want it to look like in the canvas, and then you tell it that it's a print then cut. It prints out on your home printer. So if you're putting your leather in through your printer as if it were paper, then it will print onto that leather. You take it out, and then there will be a black registration line border all the way around it. The Cricut has a camera inside, or a light, or some kind of, there's a fairy in there. I don't know what it is, but it's magical. It goes in, it sees that light, it knows exactly where it's at, and then it will cut those labels out for you with precision. So is that what you were asking? Did that answer your question? You can do it. It's just a 2-step part. And the Cricut machine does not print. So it will draw using the drawing tools, but it does not print. It does not apply ink like an inkjet or a laser printer does, but there is some functionality with the printer there. Okay, I'm going to move on to mats. If we need to come back to any of this, we can do that. Oh, I'm setting that down. All right. There are 2 sizes of mats, a 12 by 12, like this, and a 12 by 24. Should have mentioned, so this is a 12 by 24. It's a little bit misleading because the mats say 12 by 12, but you're limited to cutting 11.5 by 11.5. If you're using the 12 by 24, it's 11.5 by 23.5. So if you're using this for a pattern and either the dimensions are larger than that, you won't be able to cut it on your Cricut machine. The Cricut Maker 3, and I believe the Explorer 3, the thing that they're trying to advertise is that you don't need to use a mat, and you can cut things that are much longer than that. So it'll still be limited to 12.5 or 11.5 inches wide, but it can do a 30-inch banner if you want it to, but that's only for those smart materials, and they're Cricut. So far, I think only Cricut makes them. So the vinyl, I don't know if you've seen the HTV. HTV stands for heat transfer vinyl. It's just an iron-on vinyl. It's a thin material, and they just apply some rigid structure to it when it comes from the store. But in my opinion, that's just super expensive, and I'd rather just have a mat. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I'm going to come back to the questions about the leather business here. So how long does a mat last on average? It depends on what you're making with it. Tammy Pham told me about these amazing mats through Amazon, and that's what I've started to use recently. They work just as well as the Cricut brand mats. They're the same size. So this is a Cricut mat here, and this is the one that is from Amazon. And they last a pretty long time. But if I were to put something fuzzy on this, so if I'm cutting canvas or cork and it has a flocked backing, and I put the flocked backing down, it's going to be not great. So instead, I want to put the smooth side of the vinyl down, and that way I don't leave residue behind from the product. And there are different colors of mats. Sorry, this camera, the lighting is getting weird. There are different colors because there are different levels of tackiness. So all these colors just indicate how sticky the mat is. And it will tell you, no matter which brand it is, other craft stores carry their own house brands as well. Let me see if I can get this on here. So I know it's mirrored image, but this says fabric grip. So this is meant for fabric material, obviously. Strong grip is typically purple. So here's a strong grip mat. And this is what you would put like that pie server on, or you would put your cork, or if you've seen any of my other videos, I love to use the Dollar Tree cutting mats. So you want something that's really strong and will hold that thick material down, because the machine is going to really apply a lot of pressure as it drags along the blade. So that's why I have a wide variety of mats on hand. There are people who will tell you that you can make the mats sticky again and you can clean them, and you can a little bit, but I have found that every time I've tried to do that and I've tried to cut corners, it's bitten me in the end. And I wish I would have just gone and bought a new mat for under $5 when you get them on Amazon, and rather than trying to extend it. And then use your mats for other things. There are all kinds of creative things that you can do with your used mats. Okay, I'm going to go back here real quick. So you want to make suede or leather tags for my knit projects that you design in Illustrator. Will the ink withstand washing? I'm not sure about that. I would say print some out. Don't worry about doing it on the Cricut. Just print them out on your printer and just throw them in with your wash every time you do your wash, and see how they last that way. Let's see. So the products to use on the Maker 3 cost more? No. Okay, Susan, thank you for that. I need to clarify that. The smart vinyl that you buy on the Cricut Maker comes with a mat attached to the vinyl. So instead of getting a vinyl roll that is, 48 inches long that you need a mat with, that maybe costs $9. But the smart vinyl might be something like $15, and then they'll tell you, but you don't need the mat. So that's what costs more. Does the lint or dust or dog hair? Yes, it does. Would anyone like to see my dog hair covered mat? Yeah, it does. And you think that you vacuumed really well, and then you drop your mat and then you pick it up and it's covered with dog hair. Yeah, it does. But it still works. I used it in mine today, as a matter of fact. How do you store them? So I have them hanging on pegboard with some hooks is how I do it. Okay. You cut dollar store cutting mats with the Maker? I do, Gail, and I cut it with my Explorer Air. Actually, let me see. I did one today. Is it rude if I get up and walk around? I'm going to do it. And if it's rude, I'm so sorry. But I want to grab the thing for you that I cut today. Okay. So I don't know if you guys saw in the So Whatever group or whatever, but I made my first trash can from Lauren Mormino using her free pattern that's on her website, and then her tutorial, which is amazing. And then I cut the pattern piece using the Dollar Tree cutting mats. And then now all I do is I stick this on my fabric and I use my pen and I trace around it, and then I cut it out. It's ready to go. So I love Dollar Tree cutting mats for that. And thank you for talking about that for a minute. The thing about the Explorer Air is that, yes, it's not the best for cutting fabric, but if you cut those templates and have those cut out, ready to go, it's quick just to trace it around and then go ahead and cut it out with your rotary blade or scissors. Don't worry about being late. The video is going to be recorded and available forever. I don't know. I'm not planning on taking it down. Okay, so let's see. I thought I was going to tell you, but I can't remember what it was. All right, let's see. I cut bonded batik with the rotary blade on purple matte, and it left batik residue all over. Ugh, hard to get off. Yeah, that would be irritating. I would say that, Deanna, mm, it's probably okay to use. It just probably won't be strong grip anymore. The So I have those fabric mats, but what I've found is unless it's a really delicate fabric, I can just use the standard grip mat and it works great. So whenever you're using something fuzzy, put it um, smooth side down. There are techniques and more advanced kind of tweaks where you can get around that, but that's more than the basic class. So we're going to stick to the basics here, but there is a way to go to get around that using some hacks, if you will. Okay. Thank you for letting me walk around, guys. Okay. That part always looks like pants to me. It did to me too. Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay, it does look like that. Yeah, it did. And that was like a super rewarding sew today, getting that done. I loved that pattern. I've been wanting to do it for quite a while. And I had I had designed an embroidery file for an in the hoop for those for some reversible seatbelt cozies, and then I wanted to present them to the person with the gift, and that's why I made that trash can bag, because then it was a nice place to put it in. Okay, I just remembered something I was going to tell you. I told you that I'm going to give this away, and I am at the end of our session together. The seatbelt cozy thing that I designed reminded me that I feel awkward always sharing my content in, thanks, Jen, always sharing my content in So Whatever. And then Lynn's Handmade is specific to Lindsay's patterns, and it should be. That's her space. And so I don't want to distract with general projects and stuff in there. I tried getting my website up to speed. I've been working on it a little bit at a time. It's just not there yet because of this Black Friday thing, which expedited my whole plan with the Cricut maker and the Cricut discussion. I decided that the interim best way to go would be to create my own group. And I hate doing it because I know that another group is the last thing that most of us need on Facebook. But I have created it, and it's Charming Chic Chat Room. I don't know if it's going to be a forever group or if it's just going to be there until I'm able to get my website up and running. But in that group is where I'm going to share the free in the hoop embroidery files that I created. I will have a pattern if you don't have an embroidery machine and just want to make it by hand. I'm going to have the entry for this, and it's going to be through Rafflecopter, and I will have it posted. I'm not going to post it now. I'm going to post it once we have all of our sessions for this. And then I'm also, on our last session together, we're going to make a group project, and it's going to be very basic and very simple, but it's going to go over the core things that we are talking about with welding, slicing, importing an image, and all that. And what I want to do is to have all of us using the same image, so that when you are watching later and you've got your machine and you're ready to explore and to play with it, that you're using the exact same file that I'm using, so that you can watch and pause, work in Cricut Design Space, and then unpause, get caught up in that kind of a thing, and that you have exactly on your side that you're seeing with me. That's the best way that I can come up with it now without stepping on too many toes. So I'm going to type it in here so that you can see it. So it's Charming Chic Chat Room. So thank you to everybody who doesn't mind, and I'm sorry to those of you who do. I try to come up with a way that would make everybody happy. I just don't have enough time in the day to make it perfect for everybody. So I'm so sorry. That's the only catch with this giving this guy away. It is a Cricut cut along. So that will be our last session together. Steve, my husband, and I should tell you, he was going to join us, but he's feeling under the weather. And right before this, I mean, we got home about an hour and a half before this started. We were at a birthday party at an indoor dirt track. And so he was busy racing and crashed a little bit. So he has a little bit of a headache. So he decided not to join us for this. But he is going to join us for when we go ahead and set this up. Okay. Facebook and YouTube are great resources for us. I agree. Oh, I'm glad that the information has been good. Okay, so let me see. Let me go back through my notes and see what else I wanted to talk with you about tonight. Okay, I need to show you the Explorer. Oh, is the room not active? It's not coming up yet? It should be active. Let me see. Hold on, I'm gonna log into Facebook. And then maybe I'll be able to grab a link. Sorry. I'm gonna copy and paste the link into the chat. Julie, yes, I do cut. I do use the Cricut to cut out patterns to sew. Thank you for that compliment. Thank you, Mr. Charming Cheek is going to feel better. So the next session over that I'm going to be sharing, I'm going to hopefully still use YouTube. It's just that I'll be using Zoom or another third-party streaming service so that I can share a screen. Apparently on YouTube, you can't do screen share. So it's not going to be much, it's not going to be very helpful to you if I have my phone camera pointed at a screen. So we need to be able to do screen share. Okay, so let's see. Cricut Explorer. So Mayor Bear, can you do the project without a Cricut? No, the project that I'm going to demonstrate, our last project together, is going to be done in Cricut. Actually, you could probably print it out in a PDF. I'll do that as a PDF. It's just going to be a little tiny cord keeper that I'm thinking up. It's more about just, for me, I learn best when, number one, I make mistakes, and number two, when I can apply theories of something and then actually do the work on it. And so the reason why we're going to do that little project together is so that you can hear me talk about what it means to find an image and then import it into Cricut Design Space and then resize it and then cut a piece out of it and then slice another piece into it and then weld two pieces together. So hearing somebody talk about that is one thing, and then actually going in and doing it is another. So that's why I think it's best if we come up with this project that we do together. Looking over through the questions. Is anybody interested if I'm doing it through Zoom, do you want to come into Zoom and watch it that way? Or do you want to just come in? Because I could send out an invite for Zoom and then you could come in through Zoom. Okay, so Cindy says yes. Okay, so then the next time, can't wait because I'm a big dummy, anything electronic. Okay, so what I'll do then is I'll just, you can all do it simultaneously. So we'll do, some folks will be in with us in Zoom, and then some folks will be in with YouTube, and it will be great. Oh, speaking of software, Nikki does this already. A lot of people don't like the Cricut Design Studio. They find it to be clunky and they don't like certain things about it. And they prefer Silhouette, Cameos, and they have a business edition of their software. And you can use that to design your projects and then upload them into Cricut Design Space. I think it's a one-time fee. I want to say like $50 or $60. And then that's where you can do most of your designing. If you don't want to use Cricut Design Space, you'll then import your project from the Silhouette Studio into Cricut Design Space, because Cricut Design Space is what runs your machine. Okay, will you eventually go over the different blade, knives, etc., and when to use for which materials? I will. Deanna, were you here at the beginning? Because I did go over that a little bit, and I'm wondering if maybe I glossed over it too quickly, and I want to make sure that if I did that I go back and revisit. Thank you, Julie. Okay, you missed the first bit. So yeah, and the great thing about Cricut is and we'll go over this when we're working in the platform. When you go into Cricut and on your mat you've put a piece of cork and you want to cut out a piece of cork, it will say to you, hey, what material are you cutting? And there's a big long list of like hundreds of different kinds of material, but you type in cork. I'm cutting cork. It'll even say a lot of the times, is it 1.5 millimeter cork? Is it thick cork? Is it light cork? What kind of cork? You tell it what kind of cork you think it is. You just kind of guess. And then it says, okay, you're cutting cork. You need to use this blade. Please put this blade in clamp B. You go and put that blade in clamp B. You do the wrong blade and it says, oh, wait, that was the wrong blade. You need to put in this blade. So it really walks you through exactly what you need to do. You don't have to memorize any of this stuff. Let's see. I've been paying for design space stuff. Do you have to pay to use? I've yet to use anything on it, so it's a waste. No, you do not. If you're not using anything in there, Jen, then I would suspend your account for right now and just use the free version. Okay. There's lots of stuff you can do for free. Again, I hate to say we'll keep going over that, but I don't want to overwhelm everybody today. Yeah, Jen, you can, if you're just using it for patterns, you can absolutely suspend the membership and then pick it up later if you want to. All right, so I went over some of the buttons on the maker, but I got my squirrel moment, got distracted and didn't finish. So I'm going to start with the Explore. If I get sideways, somebody remind me to come back that I'm doing buttons right now. Okay, so this is the Explore, and it's the exact same kind of clamp system as we had in the maker. So that's the same. This has an open button. Let me show you that. Well, pretend that it didn't open. You push this button and it opens, right? And angels sing. Okay. And then here is the power button. And then this is the dial. And then you're not going to be able to see it, but all around here, it tells you the different kinds. So it says paper, vinyl, iron-on, light cardstock, bonded fabric, and then poster board or custom. So when angels sing. So when you do custom, that's when you go into the machine. The Cricut Design Space says, oh, you have your Explore connected and you have it set to custom. What kind of custom fabric are you cutting? And then that's when you tell the machine what you're cutting. All right. This over here is a port for cartridges. So if you were one of the original Cricut people like I was, and you used to buy the cartridges for way too much money, it had images and fonts and letters on that cartridge. You would stick it into this Explore Air here and then load your cartridge content from the cartridge into your Cricut Design Space account. So that's what that little flap is for. And then in the door here are little places to store tools and whatnot. So that's the Explore. On the back, this is where the mat comes through. And then this is the cord. So this is your power cord. And then this is the cord if you want to connect it directly to your computer rather than to use Bluetooth. Okay, so let me go and do the same thing with the maker. So you can see. The maker is probably twice as heavy, I would say. Okay, so this one doesn't have those buttons on the top. This one has a spot to hold your tools. So you just lift it up and then the angels still sing and it opens like this. And there are 4 buttons on the front. Sorry, I'm trying to get the, let me see if I can stand up and do it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it has an on-off, self-explanatory. This is how we load our mats, load and unload. This is the cut button. And then this is the pause button. Same, these 3 here are the same on the Cricut Explore. The on-off is just up here on the Explore. Okay. This is the cut button. So when you're all ready to go, you push this and then the mat starts to move through your machine and then the blades start to do their magic. The pause button is because sometimes you make a mistake and your material gets all bunched up and crazy and you want to, that's kind of a panic button, really not a pause button, because your life will flash before your eyes when you have all of your stuff kind of wound around those rollers. It's not a fun experience. Speaking of rollers, sometimes the materials that you cut, like today I was cutting chipboard, the machine will say, oh, you're cutting chipboard. Well, then, Crystal, you need to move all of your star wheels all the way over here so they're out of the way. You need to put, and the machine literally types this out and tells you, you need to put tape all the way around your items that's on your mat on all four sides, tape it down really good. You need to make sure that your material isn't any wider than 11 inches, and you need to have your knife blade in. Let's go. So the machine tells you all of those things. Okay. Nikki says, it's way better to pause than to rip out the power cord in panic. Not that I've ever done that. Oh, I have. Sometimes my vocabulary isn't so nice, but I have crapped a ring around myself sometimes when I have bunched everything up, and it's always at Christmas time when I am sleep deprived and already overstressed myself. But that pause button, yeah, it is better than ripping the cord out. Okay, let's see. Was I supposed to circle back to anything? My squirrels. Okay, well, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to read back through my notes and see how I'm doing. Okay. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. You're going to make mistakes. It's a part of learning. And one of the things that I would say is to invest in some freezer paper. Let me go get it. Okay, invest in a big roll of freezer paper because it sticks well. It's plastic on one side, and it sticks really well to your mats and comes off your mat easily. And while you're learning, you can run it through the first time on the paper, see if it cut right. Make sure that you haven't accidentally put a hole in your design or it's not the right size or what have you. And then cut out your actual material. That right there will take a lot of the pressure off of you and make it more fun to experiment and to play around. So the great part is if you are using this to cut out sewing patterns and you use your freezer paper, you'll have a backup pattern already cut out and ready to go. And you could even put the writing in there and then it would draw on there and transfer all of your marks and everything. And you can put that and then you would have a set on the side. Why, if you have a Cricut, might you want to have pattern pieces instead of just having the Cricut cut it? Well, you can only load material in there that's 12 inches wide, and it will only cut in 11.5 inches wide. And if you're wanting to preserve and get as much yardage possible or as much cuts as possible for your yardage, you don't want to cut it in half. And so you would use the paper pieces to lay them out on your pattern, on your fabric, and then get the most out of your fabric. I rambled there. Does that make sense? The thing that the Cricut, I really like it for, bad grammar, is that because I have shaky hands, it's hard sometimes for me to get really smooth lines with curves. And I would rather have a perfect curved pattern piece cut out than worry about me doing something janky and messing it up. So that's why I might forego and say, you know what, it's worth it to me to waste a little bit of this fabric and to have this pattern piece cut out perfectly. So that's why I might use it. The thing it's brilliant for are things with vinyl and cork, especially like card slots, where you don't have to do any measuring. You stick it in your machine, you put your fabric down. A lot of the times that material comes in 12-inch rolls anyways, and you just send it through. So things like zipper facings, tab connectors, all that kind of stuff, that's what the Cricut's amazing for. All right. Do we have, oh, thank you guys for the compliment. I'm glad that was helpful. Let me go back to my notes again. The other reason I wanted to do these sessions, not just because I love you and I want you to join me in the Cricut land, is because I want to share with you other projects and more advanced. What's kept me from doing that is I feel like I'm leaving some of you behind, and I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that we all have a basic fundamental understanding of how Cricut works so that we can work on more advanced projects together. Gail says, after finishing 20 Pocket Pals, which have cards, floods like crazy. Yes, you do need it. I have some that are cut out that I haven't put, but yes, it does it like a charm. So, and the other thing is that Lynn's Handmade, Lindsay does such a great job. And Ashley Stovall makes the SVGs for Lindsay's patterns, and she's most of the time including them for free. If you, I don't know, some of you may not know, but Lynn's Handmade Designs is my favorite bag designer, and she includes with her patterns bonus free SVG files, so you can cut a lot of the pattern pieces out on your Cricut or Brother or Silhouette, so long as they fit on the mat. So for her smaller projects, you can cut 100% of it out using your machine. And Lindsay is, just awesome for doing that. It's a huge bonus. So I want you to be able to do that and to take advantage of those. I was going to get something. What was it? I forgot. Oh, if you're putting cork smooth side down, do you have to flip the pattern image? Yes. And we'll get into that. And it's called mirroring, a mirror image. There's 2 ways to do it. You can do it at the cut screen, or you can do it on your canvas. And there's a pros and cons for doing, deciding which method to choose. The other thing about Cricut Design Space, this is getting into more of the electronic side of things, is that there's usually at least 2 things, if not 3 or 4, squirrel exactly, 3 or 4 ways of doing the same thing. So for instance, when we put an image on our Cricut Design canvas, it's called the canvas, the screen, and we want to delete it, we can click it and hit delete on our keyboard. We can click it and right click and choose delete from our mouse menu. We can click it and go up to the screen on the right panel and say delete, and then or up above on the top. So I will try to remember when we're going to working in Cricut Design Space to show you the multiple ways of doing this, the action, and then trying to stay consistent so when I'm deleting, that I always delete in the same way so that I don't distract you. But just know that there are more than one way to do almost everything in Cricut Design Space. Can you cut on the fold, i.e. 2 layers? Julie, I think you can. And actually, I texted Nikki about that a little while ago. I was curious about that. I just haven't played around with it yet, but I think you can. I think you can. I know that people will cut like stacks of material with their Cricut Maker. I just wonder, because the rotary blade, let's see. I think I put it in the machine. Well, the rotary blade, the height of the blade, so like the cutting edge up to where the center where it's attached isn't that deep. So I'm not sure how they're cutting through like super thick stacks of fabric. I don't know, but apparently you can. I don't know if they're using basting spray to get the fabric to not move. I'm not sure how they do it. And I've had cork run smooth the side down, the finish stayed on the mat. Yeah, it can do that. That's why I say that it's best to, and I'm going to get a couple of pieces of cork here. I have a cork stash right there. It's best to always go with pulled my own hair, the smooth side against the mat. So this is Sally Tomato, and this is, I don't know if you can tell or not, but this is like fleece. I would not want to put this against my mat because this will stay behind on it. I actually still have some Sally Tomato cork fleece on one of my mats. And then this, come off. Julia Child moment. This is cork that just has it's like paper thin. This one, it wouldn't matter. You could do either side. So in this instance, I would probably put the ugly side against my mat so that I didn't accidentally pull any of this textured pretty side of the cork off. How are we doing with questions? Have I forgotten to go back to anything, or do I need to revisit something? Got about 5 minutes left. And I don't want to waste your time if you guys have gotten what you need for tonight. And then how does this time work? So sorry about messing up the Saturday morning deal. Is the Saturday evening kind of good for most folks at 6? Deanna, I'm saying that maybe we do it next Saturday night. It will be Thanksgiving weekend though. I think now that I gave you, okay, let's just stick with next Saturday night at 6 o'clock. My biggest thing that I wanted to do was to give you enough information so that you could know whether or not you wanted to take advantage of those Black Friday deals. That's why I kind of rushed this out. Yes, it is nearly 10 p.m. I'm sorry. The other thing is that a lot of people are going to be getting rid. So those people who get gifted the Maker 3s or what have you may be getting rid of their older machines. So might be a good time to pick them up on Marketplace or what have you. Now, because I'm giving this away and I'm going to send it to you with no strings attached, you might be thinking, but Crystal, I don't want to buy one because what if I'm the lucky winner and I won't know until after the 4 weeks are up? Well, just leave yours in the box if you're not in any hurry for it. And then if you're the winner, then you'll get this one and then you can return yours. Okay. Oh, the Maker will be here on Monday. Yay. Okay, so our next session on Saturday is when we're going to go over and actually set it up. Hopefully it will work on Zoom via the streaming. And I think there's no getting around doing that. I think if I can't connect Zoom with YouTube, it's going to have to just happen in Zoom. And then I'm going to have to load the video recording up to YouTube. And then what we'll do is that if you aren't able to join by Zoom, you're watching the recording afterward, you can leave your comments in the comment box, or you can message them to me and then I'll answer them that way. That was the other reason I wanted to form that Charming Chic chat room, is because when I see first of all, I don't always see your comments right away on YouTube. They hide. I mean, I'm in that analytical thing all the time trying to find them and they're not there. And then I see one 3 days later and it was posted 3 days ago and then I feel like a jerk. But I also am a visual person, and sometimes I want to show you a picture of what I'm talking about to clarify, and I can't because I can't upload pictures and comments on my YouTube comment stream. So that was another reason for the chat room, so that I can share better answers with you. Where will you post the Zoom link? I will post it to YouTube, so I'll do a post. Have all of you been seeing I just learned how to do that. Have you guys been seeing those posts that I've been making? So they're not videos. It's just like a photo and then the post, I'll put it in there. Okay. And it took me a second to find it when I went back to look at it on my own. It's under the community tab of my channel. And message me. So there's contact information for me on my channel, and you can message me, send me an email, whatever. But I'll make sure that you have it. Okay, so Gail says that she's never Zoomed before, and I hadn't either until COVID came. So it's not as daunting as it appears. You don't have to have a camera. So you don't have to be on camera. You can have your camera turned off if you have a camera on your computer, or you can still join even if you don't have a camera. You can join by phone, both a smartphone and a physical landline phone. The landline phone isn't going to help you much because we're going to be showing our screen. But if you're using your smartphone, you just push a link and then it'll pop up. So there will be, and then I'll I'll be on the screen and you'll see me. I don't know how to show it to you from right here. Okay. Let me try to get Zoom going. So it's an app on my phone. And if I were to start a meeting here, sorry, let me see if I can turn this. Well, just trust me when I say that it's pretty easy to figure out. Gail, I had a how to Zoom recording somewhere. Let me see if I can figure it out. Or I'll send you, or I'll put a link. I know when I do the post. Yes, I do want to see you, Gail. When I do the post with the Zoom link, I'll also have a YouTube tutorial, which I found very helpful with a couple who walks you through exactly how to Zoom. So it's Zoom for beginners. Zoom is free. Yes, you can download the Zoom app or you can use it in your web browser, but it's free, it's easy, and you don't have to be on screen. The nice thing is that if you want to ask a question, you just unmute yourself and you talk, and then I hear your voice and I'm all excited because then it feels like a real human is with me. And, we can poll and you can raise your hand and you can do all these things. So it is a more interactive platform. So I have a Zoom subscription for my business, and I can do as long as I want to. And you guys, it's free on your end. I pay for it on my end. It's free for you guys on your end. Are the Dollar Tree mats actually cutting mats for a Cricut, or are they kitchen cutting mats? They're kitchen cutting mats. Let me show you. I have a horde of them. Let me show you what the package looks like. Okay, so this is a small sampling of my collection of Dollar Tree mats. I use them all the time. Comes 2 for a pack. Oftentimes at Dollar Tree, they're hanging up back in the kitchen area, but sometimes they're on the shelf folded like this. Let me show you. They look like this. So they're 50 cents a piece. I have a tutorial where I show you exactly how to use these for a few of them. Let me look on my channel really quick. And Nikki, yes, you do need to come visit mine. Yes, please. That would be amazing. Let me look to see the video so if you don't want to wait till next week and see how Cricut Design Space works with these Dollar Tree mats, I already have a couple videos where I walk you through it. One of them is the zipper tutorial. By the way, thank you guys for subscribing and watching. I'm blown away by how much you've given me by supporting my channel. And it means so much to me. Like I'll start crying if I talk about it. So I'm not going to cry. So I'm not going to talk about it. But it really means a lot. You guys are precious to me. So let's see. Somebody's cutting onions in here. It's not me. I'm not crying. So let's make bag tag washers is one of the videos that I do that has you guys are welcome. Thank you. The let's make bag tag washers goes over how to use the Cricut. Okay, Joan, have a good evening. All right. Good night. And then let's make a zipper box template. Those are 2 videos for sure where I talk about the Dollar Tree cutting mats. And then you can see the Cricut Design Space in action. You can see how I select the material. It is a custom setting. Oddly enough, Cricut has not figured out yet that they should have that as one of their set options. So you have to go in and do a custom material for that. All right. And then the Dollar Tree mats, if they don't have them in your store, you can order them online and then have them delivered. It's just that you have to buy a box of them. Okay. Friends, I think that we are at the end of our hour. I promised my little boy that I would go down and spend some time with him after the live. Can you use Design Space without a Cricut? Yeah, you can. Yep. Oh, good. I'm glad that you like the zipper template, Kimberly. Okay. Friends, I'm going to try to post that reversible seatbelt cozy that I designed. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that. But anyways, if I don't see you before, I will see you Saturday night at 6 o'clock, and we'll have the link and have everything ready for you to go in that post. Okay. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I can't talk, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, friends. Bye-bye.